Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Space Cowboy here. Welcome back to the channel with another video for you guys here today. Before we get started with today's video, if you guys could do me a favor and hit the like button, that'd be greatly appreciated. Subscribe if you're new, and hit the notification bell as well. The average continues to drop to those that are not subscribed. We're at 82%. Let's keep that train rolling and make sure that if you are not subscribed, you might want to get subscribed so you don't miss out on more Cowboys content. So day 3 was interesting for the Dallas Cowboys because they didn't make any moves other than open up more cap space. So what have they done? They released Ezekiel Elliott, and we touched up on what's going to happen there. So the cap space you're going to get from him won't hit until June 2nd, but you can really work with that. So there is the idea of, okay, that's going to be for the draft class and stuff like that. Well, we don't know that because the Cowboys can do a couple more moves to open up cap space. But in the same span of time that they released Ezekiel Elliott, they also redid Tyron Smith's contract. And then one of the more crazier things, and this is something that we never see happen in Cowboy land, they restructured D-Law's deal. I did not expect them to touch his contract, but they did. They opened up an extra $8 million, and with all that has been done, adding Stephon Gilmore, re-signing LVE, re-signing Donovan Wilson, the Dallas Cowboys now have $17 million in cap space as of this current point in time, and they will get actually $28 million after June 1st. So that's a lot of money for the Cowboys to play with. So people are speculating, okay, who could that be for? Because in the conversations that we have been having on Twitter and on this channel, it's like, okay, it felt like the Cowboys were not going to do anything different. Same old, same old. We're just going to go sign some basic guys, re-sign some own guys, and that's it. But you don't open up cap space as much as they did to not do anything, especially after trading for Stephon Gilmore or re-signing LVE or bringing back Donovan Wilson. Just walk with me here for a second. So you made all those moves. You tendered Terrence Steele, and you're at about like $4 million in cap space. You then release Zeke, set him as a post-June 1st cut, so you're not getting that money now, but that's something you can play with and make moves with, and you'll get that salary cap relief down the road. You redid Tyron's contract literally the next minute, and you got a bunch of cap space there, and then you also touched D-Law's contract, which surprised me. I was like, this is weird. Now you have $17 million in cap space. So you don't open up that cap space without just sitting on your ass. Like, that's something that's very weird to me. Because I had to reach out to a couple of colleagues of mine that I get some information from. And I was like, hey, what exactly is going on here? And in these conversations that I have, it's pretty vague information. It's not like, hey, they're going after this dude and they are going to give up this, this, and this. It's a vague conversation like, hey, they're interested in this player, and the conversations are being had, so just keep an eye out on that. Okay, so that's what happened last year. I talked about it when the trade market was going about, and the Cowboys were interested. I said, hey, they're interested in the trade market, allegedly, and we had a report come out after the trade deadline passed that they were interested in Brandon Cooks, and I was saying that it was Cooks or Judy, and those were the names that were coming up. So I'm not trying to put shit out there that's bullshit. Now, I did get excited, and from what the conversations I had, that the Cowboys were revisiting these names at this point in time. Now, of course, the market has deflated, and what people need to understand is these trades are not going to happen overnight. I was like, oh, you can't wait to see what happens, because it's more likely than not that something will happen. It's just we don't know what the name is. I know that the names of OBJ, D-Hop, Brandon Cooks have been named, and they're going to be circling the wagon once again on that, and they have the cap space to get it done. Here's the issue, and this is what I want people to understand, and I tried to explain it on Twitter, but people, it's Twitter, for God's sake. So, what's happening is that the Dallas Cowboys are in a situation like any other team when you're trying to negotiate a trade or someone to come aboard. It's salary, dead money, you name it. So I'm going to give you an example with the DeAndre Hopkins because that's the hot name. Here's the thing. The Cowboys have to give up compensation to get him, and then on top of that, there's the big elephant in the room, the cap hit, and him reworking his contract. So if a deal is to be done, which odds are what will happen is this. The Cowboys and Cardinals come to a handshake agreement. We are going to acquire DeAndre Hopkins, but you have to do something with the contract first before we can do it. And this is what I think would happen in a deal. So the Dallas Cowboys and, let's say them and the Cardinals agree. What the Cardinals would do is they would work with Hopkins to get his contract lower and the cap hit and the dead money lower. Then they would agree between the Cowboys and the Cardinals for how much of a dead, money hit is going to be assessed to both teams. And then the Cowboys would acquire DeAndre Hopkins. That's how sometimes these trades go. And that will happen if it's a Brandon Cooks or a DeAndre Hopkins. Now, you have OBJ out there, which 15 to 20 million, that's not what he's going to get. The market is not, for what he's looking at, it's not going to be in that range. He's going to probably get between 10 to 15 APY, and I'm going to, if I had to put my money on it, it's probably between 10 to 13 APY, and that first year is not going to be a big cap hit. That I want to make it emphatically clear there. So if the Cowboys are to go after OBJ, which he's still in the open market, and he can definitely be like, hey, you know what? Let's go to, let's get this contract worked out. That's a bit different because he's a free agent. So I want to explain that because people were like, why isn't something happening? You guys got to be patient. This shit isn't going to happen overnight. Now, after I release this the next morning or two, we could have something. But again, this takes time. Both teams have to agree to it, and sometimes in the negotiations, they're interested, and they're just like, no, we don't want to do that. And so we're hearing from Jane Slater and others, oh, that's not what's going to happen. I haven't heard anything. Now, keep in mind, they said they haven't heard anything from people. Now, I can only go off of the whispers that were given to me, and these are the same individuals that told me Dallas was interested in a wide receiver during the trade deadline last year, and that report came out, so I'm like, okay, let me just roll with that. And even before I had these conversations, I was tweeting things that you want to keep an eye out on. I said it on my Twitter account. I said, hey, the next thing I'm monitoring is if Dallas touches the contract of Zeke retiring and then possibly release Jordan Lewis. If anything happens there, that shows me something could be brewing. That was one of the first things I said earlier in the morning. So then I released my videos, and then Zeke gets cut. We talk about that. Then they restructured D-Law's contract. Then they redid Tyron's contract, all in that short span of time. And then the numbers came out that we had $17 million to work with, and then in that span of time, I was like, hold up, let me just reach out to see what exactly is going on here. And then they're telling me, hey, just keep an eye out on some of these receiver names because you're going to start seeing some stuff come out where they're going to be talking to people and teams and all that other stuff. And that's when I said, hey, y'all better be ready for what's about to happen because the wide receiver was in play and it was the usual suspects that were being named to me. And I should have clarified a bit further, and I was trying to also say that as I was talking with people was like, this stuff isn't going to happen overnight, but the names that you are being linked to, the Cowboys are inquiring about. They didn't open up the money for nothing. Now, we don't know what could be the holdup because an extension is possible for some of these players. I at least just wanted to clarify what I was saying because some people were like, oh, you're making it up. No. I had the conversations with the same people that told me about what happened in the last trade deadline and the people that I've met and talked to. Really good people, and we got to just see how things go from here. Again, I'm not expecting something to happen tomorrow or the next couple days because these things will take time, especially at this point in the offseason. So we'll see where things go from there. But, guys, that's all I got for you today. If you can leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and hit the notification bell, that'd be great. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. All right, guys, have a good one. Goodbye.